What's going on, everybody? Welcome to TeckReacts. As you can see, the first video I'm attempting to do with a green screen. Hopefully I don't like bump into it and like make it mess up. But please let me know your feedback. I'm not necessarily married to the background that's up there now. It's just something to put up while I try to figure this thing out. Obviously, the biggest portion of this that'll be green screen is when I do the reaction. So I'm going to go down into the lower corner over here, over here. And so it's going to be a change from my other reaction videos where I have like a little square. I'm actually going to go down into the corner and the video is going to be full screen. So I really want your guys' feedback if you prefer this one over how I've historically done the videos. Let me know down in the comments. You can also come into the Discord to check out some behind the scenes stuff that I'm working on as well. That link is down in the description. Hey, this video comes again to us from Kevin at High Five Pet Service. So he donated for another Aurora video that we just released this week. Kevin came back and said, "Hey, I would love you to do this one as well." And he says, I wanted to follow up after your kind reaction to Different Kind of Human with something more current. This is from a performance to raise money for children's cancer. And although you don't see the audience in this, the performance hall is filled with cancer patients and their families. It's quite a moving song, and when I was lucky enough to see her in concert this year, she was closing every show with it, often with her being moved to tears. So let's do it. I'm kind of a crybaby myself, but let's do it. Okay, let's test this out. Ready? Okay, I'm down here now. Okay, we're gonna see if all this works. Okay. So here we go. This is Aurora. This is Invisible Wounds. Let's check this out.
I squeeze into a small hole through the eyes of needles to stitch you up again. Even though I know so well I can't fix anything. I look for blood to shed, mistaking every vein for thread, spreading out too thin as I'm lying in my bed, barely existing.
I love this setup so far, by the way. I love exactly how this sounds. There was this really interesting dissonance that you can miss because everything's kind of lovely, right? The harp is actually driving the rhythm of the song. Boom, 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 boom. And then everybody else is just, playing chords, like very legato type of full chords, like using the fullness of their bow, meaning that they want the note to be like really resonant instead of just using part of their bow. You'll see them use the entire length of their bow for these full notes, and that's intentional. But there's a part in here where they clash some notes on purpose. Check this out.
Mistaking every vein for thread, spreading out too thin as I'm lying in my bed, barely existing.
Right up here, I think.
And I need you, and I need you to.
So they put that's not the dissonant part, but they take the chord and it's almost like they put the 3. So a chord, a traditional major chord or chord in general, in a triad form, is essentially like, think of it as like a 1, a 3, and a 5. So if you're playing a C, it's C, E, G. That's a major chord. If it's minor, it's 1 flat 3, 5. So 1 E flat or a C, E flat, G. When you start inverting those chords, right? So you're playing the same notes, but you're just, the bottom note is different and the top note is different. So for example, C major, since it's the easiest to talk about, C, E, G is a major chord. If you play the same notes, but you invert their placement. So instead of putting a C on the bottom, you put an E on the bottom and you play E, G, and C on top. That's still a C major chord, but it's called a C major chord in first inversion, meaning that the root of the chord is now on the top instead of on the bottom. Now in second inversion means that you build the chord off of the G. So same notes, now it's G, C, E. What that tends to do is create a very unusual sound within a chord, because what your ear is really used to hearing is it's used to hearing that tonic, that root note, right? The 1. So I don't know what key this song is in, but if it's in C, the C, right? Now that being said, if you were to do the G, C, E, it's still a major chord. It still has kind of that happy feel to it, but it does sound different. Try it on a piano and play C, E, G, and then play E, G, C, and then play G, C, E. It's the same chord, but it does sound different. It's this portion right here. They're putting it sounds like they're putting the 3 of that chord on the top. And what that does is it tells your ears and your brain, we're going this direction. We're going this direction. So check out what happens here. I bet it resolves up. Yeah, it resolved up.
Sometimes I see light. And
that instrument is a vibraphone. I played this a lot in college. It's absolutely one of my favorite percussion instruments of all time. A lot of people look at this and say, "Oh, it's a xylophone." Well, so a xylophone is wood. And how this works is you might be able to see under here, there's these tubes. They're tubes that go all the way down almost to the ground. But the tubes get further away from the ground the more towards the middle of the notes you get. So I'm sorry, it gets higher off the ground the further up you go, because these high notes don't use as much resonance. So the low notes, the tubes are like that much off the ground, and then as it gets higher, it's like this. It gets until the tubes are like maybe like this big. Inside of these tubes, this is the cool part. This is why it's called a vibraphone. Inside of these tubes are flaps, and the flaps can open or they can close. If they open, then you get the full resonance of the tube as you hit the metal, and it drives the tone down the tube. You get this beautiful note. Now let me see if this one's moving. Yes, so if you look really, really closely, you'll actually see those flaps inside moving. Check this out. I'll try to point it out to you.
I see light.
See it moving? Those are attached to a motor, and you can control the speed of it. And what that's going to do is the flaps inside. So now they're open. Now they're closed. This is really cool. So it's called a vibraphone because you strike the metal, it resonates, right? So you hold down a pedal, kind of like a sustain pedal on a piano, and you might see this is the bar right here. This is the dampener bar. She might hit that, or he might hit that. Excuse me. Let me see this.
Sometimes I
Let's see if it lifts. See it? See how it lifts? Doon, 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 doon. He's got to kill those notes so that they don't all blend in with each other. I know you didn't expect a percussion lesson or a percussion history lesson on this today, but this is literally one of my favorite instruments. So back to the motor. The motor controls the speed at which those flaps circulate. So it makes the difference between bomb and it just ringing until you hit the sustain pedal, or almost like a vibrato of a singer. And you can control the speed. So you can go, it can go, you can totally control it. Beautiful placement of this instrument, by the way. But that's what a vibraphone is. And if you're curious what this is, these are called crotales. I won't spend a whole lot of time on that, but if he plays those, I'll tell you what they are. And he is using a four-mallet Musser grip, I believe. Yeah. And I fear it's only fantasy. Yeah, okay, so now you could see the motors moving in that one. It's only fantasy. Right there. Oh, wouldn't it be tragic if there is no light in me, not any magic? And I need you. Oh my gosh. Ooh. If you can, la, 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 oh. I know the best I can. It isn't always good enough, and it hurts to know I hurt you. Like I know it hurts for you to know you hurt me. And now my blood is yours, and life is slowly losing touch. Pretty sure he just hit those crotales. How do we learn to tend to this invisible? No, that's the vibraphone. Our homes gave us. You hear that high-pitched squeal? Listen, 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 listen. Right there? I'm willing to bet that those crotales are now coming into play, those little brass discs, and he's probably taking a bow to them. Let's see if they show a camera shot of that. There it is. Definitely taking a bow to those crotales. Great addition. Ooh, that's pretty. And I need you to stop needing me. Like I needed you. We both need to tend to the invisible. He did it again. I want them to show me the bow on the crotales. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely stunning. Absolutely beautiful. Holy jeez. Um, I'm really curious if if she works with somebody. Well, first of all, is this the original version of the song, or is this is this a live orchestral adaptation of the original song? I'm not familiar with the song from her. Question number one. Question number two, if this is the original version of the song, or even if it isn't, who transcribed it and who wrote it for the orchestra? Did Aurora, or does she have somebody that helps her with that? Uh, Either way, very impressive. So those little crotales, I think I mentioned that a couple times, but we never got a shot of it. They're little brass discs, and they're set to different notes. What happens is if you take a violin bow and you drag it on the edge of that flat disc, it actually gives you that almost like that screechy sound that we heard, but it gives you all of the overtones. So if it's a C, right, and you do that, it's going to play all of the natural frequencies to that C, which is going to be the C, E, G, C, E, G, right? Until it gets further up, then the frequencies get closer and a little bit more dissonant, but those first few octaves. But that's why it sounds kind of like a screech, because it's a lot of notes at one time. It's overtones. It's really cool. You can actually do that to a gong as well. If you take a violin bow to the curved part of the gong on the flat edge of it, it creates this really eerie, almost like scary movie type sound, but it's very cool. That was a really interesting. I have not heard anybody play a bowed crotale since I was in college, so that was very cool. Beautiful song, beautiful. There was this like beautiful restraint of power in all of the orchestral instruments. Most of the song was played at what I would consider kind of like a mezzo forte, not loud, but just where it needed to be. Obviously, some like pianissimo parts, some softer parts. But it was an absolutely stunningly beautiful song. So thank you, Kevin, for that one, man. I really appreciate it. Again, Kevin's Instagram to his pet service will be linked down in the description of this video, because he's the one that brought the video to us today. If you want your reaction guaranteed within 2 weeks, you can do the same thing that Kevin did, and that option is down in the description. So absolutely beautiful. I was on the verge of tears, had to keep myself from crying. And also let me know, do you enjoy the green screen version of TeckReacts? Let me know down in the comments, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Take care.